राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
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 दीनानाथ गोविंदा रास विलोला 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 गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला दीनानाथ गोविंदा रास विलोला 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 गोपाला गोविंदा जय गोविंदा गोपाला जय गोपाला
गोविंदा जय गोविंदा गोपाला जय गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
अनाथ नाथ गोविंदा रास विलोला 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 गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
अनाथ नाथ गोविंदा रास विलोला 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 गोपाला
गोविंदा जय गोविंदा गोपाला जय गोपाला
गोविंदा जय गोविंदा गोपाला जय गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
राधे गोविंदा जय जय राधे गोपाला
आनंद रूपा चित चोरा मुरली मनोहर नंद लाला
आनंद रूपा चित चोरा मुरली मनोहर नंद लाला
आनंद
Vishnu. As we take flowers in our hands, we pray. With faith, with love and with devotion, O Bhagwan Vishnu, we once more come knocking at your door. Listen to our prayer. Listen to our petition. We beg of you. Hari Om Sri Ganesha Namah Sri Saraswati Namah Sri Guru Charana Kamalibhyo Govinda Namo Namah. Mokam karoti vachalam pangulam gete girim Yat kripatamaham vande paramananda madhavam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. We have 4 flowers. We have water snan as we pay our murti. Om Gange Yamuni Seva Godavari Saraswati Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Snanam Snanam Pratikritam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Do the snan. Om Sri Durasnanam Durasnanam Samarpyami Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Patotan Urdana Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhutaradravani Tiramatirmama. Om Sri Vishnave Namah. Om Sri Vishnave Namah. Om Sri Vishnave Namah. We offer Vasradhan clothing to you who have blessed us with the gift of clothing. We offer clothing in our worship. May you be pleased with us. Ved Suktam Smayuktam Yagyashama Samanvite Sarve Prade Deva Vasase Prate Kretam Sarvabhushatike Lomya Lakjani Varana Mayupakar Vasram Upavasram Prate Kretam Yagyo Pavitam Paramam Pavitram Stapitam Purusham Tatanye Ayushamugram Pratimunsha Shubram Yagyo Pavitam Balamastu Teja Trayambakam Yajamai Sugandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandana Prityor Mokshamamritat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We have a chandan, we have a perfume. Chandanam Sulavitam Deva Kante Chamuktavani Gopa Sri Paride Vijayate Gopala Chudamani. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. May you be pleased with us, O Bhagwan Vishnu. We beg of you, listen to our prayer. Om हरिद्राय सर्वसौभाग्यराणि सर्वालङ्कारमुक्तामि देवी त्वं प्रतिग्रहीतां सिन्धूरं शोभनं रक्तः सौभाग्ये सुखवर्धनं काम्रं मोक्षरं चैव सिन्धूरं प्रतिग्रहीतां सिन्धूरं समर्पयामि ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
We offer strands of dukkha's. May you root away all troubles, all problems. We offer bare leaves, to these knees, we offer all lives at your feet. We offer neem leaves. May you take charge and may you ward away sickness and distresses from our Patni. We beg of you, O Paramatma, listen to our prayer. Durbadanam samarpyami, Belapatram samarpyami, Neem patram samarpyami, Om namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mallityadini Sukandeni Mallityadini Ve Prabhu Mayatani Pujatam Pushpani Pratigritam Pushpadanam Samarpyami Arti Om Yani Kani Japapani Jammantarkritani Sta Tani Tani Prakshana Prakshana Pradi Pradi Deepam Darshyami Deepam Samarpyami Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedhase Raghunataya Nataya Sitaya Pataye Namah Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
We offer flowers around audience Siddhi Buddhi Prade Devi Bhukti Mukti Pradani Mantra Murti Sara Devi Mahalakshmi Namostute Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Sanstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Pushpadanam Samarpyami Pushpadanam Pratigretam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Naivedyam Nivedyami Naivedyam Samarpyami. We offer this Persad, symbolic of food to you. You have blessed us with many things we ought to be grateful for. And so as an act of gratitude, we have prepared this Persad with faith and with devotion. May you be pleased with us, O Bhagwan. May you be pleased with us. Om Brahmarpanam Brahma Ved Brahmaganu Brahmanahutam Brahmagatena Gantavyam Brahmakarma Samarinam Naivedam Nivedyami Naivedam Samarpyami Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Brahmarpanam Mamastu Sri Krishna Arpanam. May you accept our Persad, O Bhagwan Vishnu. We beg of you. What can we give to you when everything in this world belongs to you? We offer supplications at thy feet. Be gracious unto us. Tambulam. We offer clove. We offer supari. Bless us with longevity, good health. We beg of you. Pungi palmya deva nagabalidana yukta. Elal chunatam tambulam prati gretam. Lavankarpur sanyuktam tambulam surapujate. Lavankarpur sanyuktam tambulam prati gretam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Archman, we offer drops of water. After we have offered food to you, Bhagwan, we offer water. May you be pleased with us. Om Gangeshta Yamunishchaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Achmanyam Prati Gretam Achmanyam Samarpayami Dakshina Idanya Gharva Samarthatagri Bhutasya Jata Patrikayasi Saradharam Prithavimava Dakshina Danam Aham Karikshe Dakshina Danam Samarpayami Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We have applause as we decorate our altar. Mangalam Bhagavan Vishnu, Mangalam Garudatvaja, Mangalam Pundarikaksha, Mangalaya Tanuhari, Pushpadanam Samarpyami, Pushpadanam Pratigreta. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We join in expressions of welcome this evening. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Sitaram, on behalf of the Pandit Sunil, Seetahal-Maharaj and the Ganesh Utsav Foundation, I warmly welcome one and all to this, our 11th session of this Srimad Bhagwat Saptaha Yagna. As it is, you know, for the past 50 years and before, the Bhagwat was a very popular text. But due to the time and age now, it is a very difficult to host a Bhagwat. So when you hear that someone is having a Bhagwat, it is a golden opportunity for you to try and come, take part, or at least listen to this yagna. Because it is the text that able to help your soul meet Param Atma. It's a teaching of Sri Krishna. So I urge you as a member, as a senior member of the Ganesh Utsav Foundation, to urge you to come. We have 10 more sessions. Please come and join with us and make this a reality, and it will be something good for yourself. It is not for Pandit Sunil and the Ganesh Utsav Foundation. It is for everybody. So we get the opportunity. Please make good use of it. Sitaram.
Kara ho jaye, aarti lijiye. Let us all please stand as we join in the opening aarti. Shubham karotu kalyanam arogyam sukhasamparam amashatro vinashaya deepajotir namostute Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopakumaraya Govinda Namo Namah. Bhagwat Aarti. भगवान की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
ये अमर गंतये मुक्ति पंतये पंचम वेद निराला नव ज्योति जगाने वाला।
ये अमर ग्रंथ ये मोक्ति पंथ ये पंचम वेद निराला नव ज्योति जगाने वाला।
हरि ज्ञान यही वरदान यही
हरि ज्ञान यही वरदान यही।
जग की मंगल की आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
जय जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
ये शांति दीप पावन पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला हरि दर्श दिखाने वाला।
ये शांति पावन पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला हरि दर्श दिखाने वाला।
ये सुख करनी हे दुख हरनी
ये सुख करनी ये दुख हरनी।
ये मधुसूदन की आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
जय जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
ये मधुर बोल जग पंत बोल सन्माद दिखाने वाला बिगड़ी को बनाने वाला।
ये मधुर बोल जग पंथ बोल सन्मान दिखाने वाला बिगड़े को बनाने वाला।
श्री राम यही घनश्याम यही
श्री राम यही घनश्याम यही।
सबकी महिमा की आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
जय जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम।
जय 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 भागवतम। जय 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 भागवतम।
जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम।
जय 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 भागवतम। जय 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 भागवतम।
हे नंद नंद गोपाल आनंद नंद गोपाल।
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 हे नंद नंद आनंद नंद यदुनंद 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 नंद गोपाल।
अमरगन्तये मूर्तिपन्तये पञ्चमवेद निराला नवज्योति जगाने वाला हरि ज्ञान ही वरदान ही जग की मंगल की आरती
पापियों को पाप से तारती
जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती
पापियों को पाप से तारती
जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम बोलो
जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम
जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम
जय 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 भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम
वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय आसन पर बैठे let us all please be seated. My obeisance, my adorations at the feet of all our Brahma Devatas. To all of you who have come from far and near, we say welcome. To those who are listening to us, to those who are viewing us via our broadcasts on radio and television, we say welcome as well. And so this evening, as we prepare our minds and our souls to listen to the beautiful Katha, Heart Jod Binti Karo, let us bow our heads in prayer. As we chant mantras of Avahan, invocation, we pray to Paramatma, to Bhagwan. May you sharpen our intellect to receive the lessons that we will learn out of tonight's Katha. We beg of you. Hari Om Viganeshwaraya Varadaya Surapralam Bhodaraya Sakalaya Jagathidaya Nagasrutyagya Vibhushita Gauri Sutaya Gananat Namo Namaste Sarvamangala Mangale Shive Sarvata Satike Sharani Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Par Brahma Tasmai Shri Guru Namah Vande Deva Umapatim Surugurum Vande Jagatakaranam Vande Pannagabhushanam Mrigamada Vande Pashunapatim Vande Suru Sushankaranganenam Vande Mukunda Priyam Vande Bhakta Janadhara Kapirara Vande Shiva Shankaram Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagwat Sumiran. Riddhi Siddhi Data Siddha Saran Nivaran Varena Sumiro Barambar Madan Karan Ki Lali Ko गणपति कृपा निदान ज्ञानी कानी आनंद भवन देहु मोहि वरदान वरनु भाषा भाग्यवता जय शिवानंद कंद भूतनाथ भव्य शैलीर्द्वार गौरवर्ण मंगल करेना ब्रज चंद्र मुकुंद ब्रजभूषण दूषण हरिणा कठो भाव बेपन चरण शरण नियानि करा जय 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 जगदीश स्वेद शेष महेश यजा महिमा अमित वेद वेद जानत नहीं देहु मोहि वरदान राधा वदय वरसरा प्रेम बरे मुस्कान नित चित्त में कटे कटे रहे मोहि चाहिए कछुनाई और वास्तु प्रभु जगत की बस ही रे मन माए या बाकी जान की सदा लीला कुटिया गायन की पीछे तिरता वाली बाली लीसा मोर मुकुट सिर परी डरे कर मुरनी उदमान शेष मुकुट के पीठ पता या छवि सो नंदला बस हुए दे ममऋषि देवा गुरु पर रज दर्शीष करहु भागवत की कथा जो सुकरेव मुनि कई परीक्षित निरपति सो श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रगा बरनो रघुबर विमल यश
जोधायक फलदार
बोधहीन तनु जानिके
सुमिरो पवन कुमार
बलभूत विद्या देहु मोहि
हरहु कलेश विकार
वृंदावन कृष्ण चंद्र जी की जय शरणम. Let us clap, let us sing, let us make a joyful noise unto Bhagwan as we join in kirtan. गौरी गणेश उमा महेश पार्वती नंदन श्री गणेश
गौरी गणेश उमा महेश पार्वती नंदन श्री गणेश
गौरी गणेश उमा महेश Kirtan is one of the ways of preparing your soul for mukti. Kirtan is one of the forms of devotion. When kirtan is being sung and you clap, it creates a kind of vibration. A kind of joy comes from deep down within you. And so, by clapping, we expel our pap, we expel our sins, the sins we have accumulated. If the person next to you is clapping and you're not clapping, you're in real trouble. You know why? Like a dry sponge will absorb water, you're taking up all their sin. Oh God. Let us join in the kirtan. And when you clap, don't clap because I'm telling you. Clap because you want to get rid of some of your pap. You want to get rid of some of your sin. Sing with me, everybody. Gauri Ganesh, Uma Mahesh, Parvati Nandan, Shri Ganesh.
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 Sharanam Ganesh, Sharanam Ganesh,
Sharanam Ganesh, Sharanam Ganesh,
Sharanam Ganesh, Sharanam Ganesh,
Sharanam Ganesh, Sharanam Ganesh.
Shivanandan Ganapati Ganesh,
Shivanandan Ganapati Ganesh,
Shivanandan Ganapati Ganesh,
Shivanandan Ganapati Ganesh.
Gauri Ganesh, Uma Mahesh, Parvati Nandan, Shri Ganesh.
Gauri Ganesh, Uma Mahesh, Parvati Nandan, Shri Ganesh.
Lakshmi Ganesh, Lakshmi Ganesh,
Lakshmi Ganesh, Lakshmi Ganesh,
Uma Ganesh, Uma Ganesh,
Uma Mahesh, Uma Mahesh,
Parvati Nandan, Jai Shri Ganesh,
Parvati Nandan, Shri Ganesh,
Parvati Nandan, Jai Shri Ganesh,
Parvati Nandan, Shri Ganesh.
Gauri Ganesh, Uma Mahesh, Parvati Nandan, Shri Ganesh,
Gauri Ganesh, Uma Mahesh, Parvati Nandan, Shri Ganesh.
Ganinata Gajvarna, Ganinata Dinabandhu,
Gananata Gajvarna, Gananata Dinabandhu.
Ganinata Gajvarna, Ganinata Dinabandhu.
Gananata Gajvarna, Gananata Dinabandhu.
Moria Re, Bappa Moria Re,
Moria Re, Baba Moria Re.
Moria Re, Bappa Moria Re,
Moria Re, Baba Moria Re.
Moria Re, Bappa Moria Re,
Moria Re, Baba Moria Re.
Moria Re, Bappa Moria Re,
Moria Re, Baba Moria Re.
Moria Re, Bappa Moria Re,
Moria Re, Baba Moria Re.
Moria Re, Bappa Moria Re,
Moria Re, Baba Moria Re.
Oh Moria Re, Bappa Moria Re,
Moria Re, Baba Moria Re.
Oh Moria Re, Bappa Moria Re,
Moria Re, Baba Moria Re.
Oh Moria Re, Bappa Moria Re,
Moria Re, Baba Moria Re.
Oh Moria Re, Bappa Moria Re.
Moria Re, Baba Moria Re.
गणेश भगवान की जय। गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा,
गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेशा.
गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा,
गणेश शरणं शरणं गणेशा.
गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा,
गणेश शरणं
Vishnu has taken on many manifestations. We have listened to the manifestation of the form of Kurma avatar, the form of the turtle. We have listened to the form of Hayagriv, that form of the human body but with the horse head. We have listened to the form of Vamandev. This dwarf-like being, he was, what was the description given? Choti Moti. Choti Moti, Vamandev. We have listened to the epic of Matsya avatar, the form of the fish. Bhagwan Vishnu taking the form of the fish. Tomorrow we'll listen to another manifestation of Bhagwan Vishnu in our morning katha. But in the nectar, the very nectar of the Bhagwat, there are many lessons to be learned. And so this evening I've chosen not to read about a manifestation, but to read about a lesson. A lesson so that we can all become better beings. And by becoming better human beings, not Hindu beings, but human beings, then life will be enriched. What is the link between Lord Ganesh and Bhagwan Vishnu? What is the link between Lord Ganesh and Bhagwan Vishnu? I am singing the kirtan of Lord Ganesh in the Bhagwat Yagna. Is it a wrong thing? Is it the right thing? Should we not only sing the praises of Bhagwan Vishnu, Bhagwan Krishna? What is the link between Lord Ganesh and Bhagwan Vishnu? There is a link. The Ishta Devata of Lord Ganesh is Bhagwan Vishnu. But not just Bhagwan Vishnu. Bhagwan Vishnu in the form of Lord Krishna. Lord Ganesh, the remover of all obstacles, created the mantra, the Maha Mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It was created by the God who removes obstacles, to the God who blesses his soul with a safe transition at the time of death across the ocean of Bhausagar. That's why we chant that mantra. We chant that mantra when somebody dies, hoping and praying that the transition will be a peaceful one, because the God who removes obstacles created that mantra to the God who blesses his soul, the manifestation that blesses his soul. Now imagine they're chanting that mantra on your behalf when you're dead. Can you imagine the effect and the impact it will have if you chant the mantra for yourself while you're alive? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the blessing or the merit that will come out of you chanting the mantra on your own? Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha, Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha, Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha, Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha. Listen to the beautiful katha. Om Saraswati Namastubhya Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sarang Ajnanam Timidandasya Jnananam Shangshanagya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shada Rupena Sanstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. श्री सुखदेव उवाचा, जिसमें पहले का सुंदर कथा तुंगभद्र का नदी का पार बहुत नगरे है, जिसमें का नगरी आत्मा देव का नाम बहुत का ज्ञानी ब्राह्मण रहता तथा है, वह बहुत का दानी तथा उन्होंने का विवाह का धुंधली नाम का एक और सुंदर पत्नी का उन्होंने का, जिसमें का पास हमेशा का अपने तीर होते हैं, अपने तीर होते हैं। दुंदुली का जन्मा की पवित्र दे आसन खोटे करने उन्होंने का, लेकिन बहुत का चलते चलते उन्होंने का है। ग्रामली का बाजार होते सिर्फ के कुछ अच्छा पवित्र पैर होते करने वाले, महालपते का या नहीं का वीर अच्छा है, अच्छा है। गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा, गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा, गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा, गणेश शरणम शरणम The Katha tells us at one time, living on the banks of a river called the Tungabhadra. Tungabhadra is the name of the river. Living on the banks of the river, in a wonderful town, in a beautiful city, there lived a very knowledgeable Brahmana whose name was Atmadev. And Atmadev, he was not only knowledgeable, he was very wealthy. The Brahmana was very wealthy. For some strange reason, many people think that the holy people, they are wealthy. In the Ramayana, Ravan, he thought of teaching a lesson to all of the people who lived there in Lanka. And who did he attack? Who did he attack? He attacked the saints and the sages and the rishis and the brahmanas and the holy people. And what he wanted from them? He wanted their money. He wanted their wealth because he thought that their wealth was their source of happiness. But indeed, their wealth was a part of their happiness, but not their sole source of being happy. Their sole source of being happy was the bhakti, the devotion that they had towards Bhagwat. And Ravan started to behead the brahmanas, thinking that when they will bring plenty jewelry. He made a law that they must bring all their wealth. And they brought little or nothing, zero. And this upset him, right? So Ravan started to behead them and collect their blood in a gut, in a pot. But then in the night, Ravan got a dream. The blood in this pot will cause your demise. Get rid of it and stop your evil ways. And so Ravan sent the pot far away. Can you remember the Katha? And buried it in a different city, in a different town, securing life for himself because he did not want to die. And then many weeks after, the Raja of that place was plowing and he stumbled on the ghat, he stumbled on the pot. And out of that blood, the blood of the holy people, Janki, Sita will be born, Mother Sita, the Ramayana says. Atmadev, he was not just very knowledgeable, but Atmadev, he was very wealthy. And so Atmadev, unke ka vivaah bhulaar karte hain, देखो धुंधुली का नाम पत्नी है, सुंदर पत्नी उसने का पास गया होते हैं, कुछ का तीर होते हैं, धुंधुली का जन्मा की पवित्र हो दे करने हैं. Atmadev was married to a being and his wife's name was Dunduli. Listen to the name of the wife, Dunduli. Dunduli, when you do the translation for the name Dunduli, it means troublesome, quarrelsome, angry-some, aggravated-some. It means all of those things. Dunduli. This was the aura that she possessed. And so she was Sundar. Sundar means she was beautiful in looks, but she was not beautiful in ways. Calm. She was not beautiful in ways. What makes you beautiful? I'm coming outside in a rush just now, and I see somebody by the table putting powder. And I look at her and I say, so much powder you're putting on a mask? She said, no, you know why they make makeup? I said, why? She said, to hide God breakup. She looked at me, she said, they make makeup to hide God breakup. There is no amount of makeup you can use to hide the negative qualities and tendencies that you have in you. And when how you try to hide these qualities, a day and a time will come when these qualities present themselves. Because it is who you are. It is a part of who you are. And so, Atmadev, having all of this wealth and having this very beautiful wife, she was beautiful in looks but not in... Say that with me. She was beautiful in looks but not in... Do you want to be beautiful in looks and not in ways? Beauty is not in the way you look. I'm going to say that again. Beauty is not in the way that you look, but beauty is in the way that you portray yourself. Beauty is in the humility that you have. Clothes enhances your appearance, but your beauty enhances your elegance. To be elegant is to be beautiful. To be elegant is to be graceful. Something that is graceful. When you think about grace, grace itself means beauty, isn't it? And so Dunduli, having all of these qualities, she was born into a noble family. And so all of her relatives, they were nice, pious, noble, quiet people. But Dunduli, she made up. All of them, by the way she behaved. And so Dunduli and Atmadev, there was something about their union that stood out. What is it? Listen, it tells us. फिर का आत्मादेव उन्हों का बुला करते हैं, जिसमें तथा का बहुत कुछ, लेकिन आत्मादेव चिंता का भार होने करने निर्धन हो, अज्ञान हो, देख और संतान नहीं होते। ओ सकृति का सारी संपत्ति का उदार लेकिन है गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा, गणेश शरणम शरणम गणेशा, श्री राम शरणम शरणम श्री रामा, शरणम शरणम श्री रामा, श्री कृष्ण शरणम शरणम श्री कृष्णा, श्री कृष्ण शरणम शरणम श्री कृष्णा, श्री दुर्गा शरणम शरणम श्री दुर्गा, श्री दुर्गा शरणम शरणम श्री दुर्गा, श्री दुर्गा शरणम शरणम श्री दुर्गा, श्री दुर्गा शरणम शरणम श्री दुर्गा। Atmadev and Dunduli, they got along very well. Atmadev and Dunduli, they got along very well. And you know what made them get along well? Atmadev was very quiet and Dunduli was rowdy. Have you ever heard the definition that they say you can't put two Borat to live in the same hole? Have you ever heard? What will happen? Huh? That's why when you're getting married, you don't get married based on who you love. Because love isn't always what you consider it to be. It isn't always love. It is lust sometimes. And the things that you lust after a while, it becomes irritating. It becomes frustrating. That's why before you got married long ago, you went to the Pandit and you said, Baba, let's check the Ganna. Ganna means the planets, to see how they align. And so if the union will be a good one, where there will be some kind of understanding and compromise. But now we no longer check Ganna. You know what we check? Manna. You know what's Manna? Huh? And we're thinking about Motoba. Motoba. You know what's Moto? Your kana. The kind of car you're driving. Garbha. Garbha means your kind of house. Huh? Sonabha. The kind of jewelry that you wear. And you're checking all of the material things, but you're not thinking about the connectivity, the connection. If it will really work, if there will be any kind of good reasoning that will come out of the relations. And so Atmadev, he was always very quiet, and Dunduli, she was always very rowdy. This did not make him upset. What made him upset is that they were unable to have children. This is what made them upset. And the Katha says, Dunduli was compared, or the definition that is given directly out of the book says, Dunduli was barren. Barren. Have you ever heard that word before? Barren? Barren is a term that is used to describe the cow. Huh? The cow. The cow is referred to as being barren. Why? Because the cow can't make any, there are no offsprings that will come out of the cow. And so the definition gives that Dunduli, she is compared to be like that, of a barren cow, barren. She's unable to bring forth children. And so this made Atmadev very unhappy. The quarreling didn't make him unhappy. Huh? The thought of not having a child made him unhappy. You know, some people like quarrel. And if it have no quarrel, they do something to ensure that it have some kind of quarrel. Huh? Anil shaking his head. Huh? Shaking their head. Dunduli. Listen to what it says. फिर भी का आत्मादेव उसके कारण देखो जागृत की उन्हें करने वाले जिसमें का धुंधुली का बहुत कुछ लेकिन करने आत्मादेव का चिंता हो क्या होते हैं। देखो की जंगल में रक्षा होते, जंगल में रक्षा होते। देखो नदी की आस्थान होते जिसमें का पहले बैठे गए साधु की प्रकट होते, साधु की प्रकट होते करने हैं। आत्मादेव की पूछने जिसमें का रक्षा हो करने उन्हों का साथ नहीं और उनके का पत्नी रोने तीर ऋषि का पल दिया होते जिसमें का निर्देश दिया की पवित्र का हो जगरे है, हो जगरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। She started to quarrel, she started to argue with Atmadev, and in the dead of the night he's tired, he needs rest. Hearing the quarrel, hearing the argument, he chooses to walk away. A strong person never stands up to reply. A strong person bends his head or her head and walk away in humility. But I don't know about you, I'm not too strong. I'm on the pathway to attaining strength. I'm not strong. Confession is good, huh? Confession is good. And whether how much I try, I say this all the time, huh? I say this all the time. Whether how much I try, the connection between my brain and my mouth, something is off with the wiring. Because you know why? Sometimes as soon as I think it, it flies out. And then I say, oh God, did I say that? Did I just say that? Earlier today, I had the privilege of officiating at the funeral of one of my uncles. And one of my cousins, who I didn't see for a long, long time, he and I was going up in the elevator together. And I looked at him. I say, you're welcome to the funeral. He said, you too. I said, so when last you see uncle? He said, long time. I said, so where you come now for? He said, well, when last you went? I said, well, coincidentally, I went last week. And so I saw him and I was able to talk with him and he looked at me and he said, over glad to see you. I said, well, me and what you going to say about you? I don't know what he even want to tell you. And then when I went upstairs, I thought to myself, maybe I should not have said that to him. Eh? Maybe I should not have uttered those words. Maybe I should have just remained quiet. Eh? The connection, you see? The connection. Something is off with the wiring. I'll have to probably go and check out the wiring. Dunduli started to quarrel and she started to argue and she started to fight. And so Atmadev chose Shanti. Shanti means peace. So he went out into the bushes. And so he sat quietly on the banks of the river because they live on the banks of the river. And so gazing at the flow of the water, he tried to maintain calmness. Have you ever looked at or listened to the water falling? It creates a sense of calmness, isn't it? And so, creating this calmness, he sat there. Aimlessly, he sat there. Have you ever just sat aimlessly with no aim? Ever sat with no aim? Nothing to do? So you just sit down. They say, you call somebody and you say, what you doing? You say, I just lull off here. So you have nothing to do? Nothing to do and nobody to do it with. So I'm just here, sitting there, presenting itself or presenting himself. The Atmadev is a sadhu. But the sadhu is very old and frail and could hardly walk. And the sadhu seeing Atmadev, the sadhu immediately recognized who Atmadev is. And so seeing Atmadev, the sadhu asked, he says, tell me, what are you doing here? What are you doing here sitting in the dark by yourself? And Atmadev replies, ऋषि ने उसने का पल लिया, देखोर का उन्होंने का संतान निर्धन हो, अपने का पत्नी रोदे तेरे, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. He says, my wife is rowdy, and so she's creating noise, and so I came here for some peace, but I'm unhappy. Not because of her noise, but because we can't have children. I'm unhappy. And the sadhu hearing this, the old sadhu, he then does something. देखोर साधु उसे का पल दिया, देख रे का निर्धन हो दिया, देखोर पवित्र का गया होते ये, वागर का पूछने इसने का हो गया, जानते का घसमे तीर रहे, श्री परमात्मनि नमः. The old sadhu dipped his hand down in his bag and he pulled out a pal. Pal means pal. What is a pal? मेरा पल पल बीता जाए मुख से जपले नमः शिवाय. By chanting the name of Lord Shiva, pal, fruits will come. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. A pal means a fruit. And so pulling out this fruit, the fruit looked appetizing. You ever see a fruit and you feel to eat it? Ever got a big rosy fruit and you paid a lot of money for it and it's rosy outside, and when you go home and you cut it, it's black inside? No use. The sadhu pulled out the fruit, and as the sadhu presented the fruit to Atmadev, he says, take this fruit to your wife now, in the raat, in the night, and feed it to her as Persad, and so she will bring forth a child into the world. This is my promise, this is my vow. Atmadev is happy, and so he rushes home with his fruit. But there is one problem. Dunduli is asleep. Can you imagine? She's rowdy when she's awake. Now she's asleep and you have to wake her up. Can you imagine what will happen? What do you think will happen? The Bhagwat says, Vagasme tirhe. Vagasme. She becomes very furious. Not just angry, She becomes furious. She's fuming mad. Gasme. And looking at Atmadev in anger, Atmadev presents the fruit and tells the kahani. The kahani means the story. He tells the story. But she has a plan in her mind. She knows that the old sadhu giving this fruit, the fruit will bring forth children. She knows this. But what her situation is, she knows this. And so, holding this fruit in her hand, a thought goes through her mind. Listen to what. वाका संतान दे, देखो चलते का अपने का मनुष्य का, बहुत सकते का तीर करने श्री परमात्मने नमः. In her mind she is thinking, I don't want to have children. And you know why she doesn't want to have children? Because she's very conscious about how body looks. And if she has a child, then it will change the appearance of her body and it will spoil her beauty. This is what she's thinking. This is how she's thinking. And thinking like that tells the kind of person she is, isn't it? Thinking like that tells the kind of person that she is. And so thinking like this, she waits until Atmadev will exit the room, but Atmadev is not leaving. You know why? He wants to see her eat it. He wants to see her eat the fruit. You ever carry some food for somebody who is sick maybe, and you say to them, I want you to drink this hot soup now. And they say, well, just now I will get up in 5 minutes. And you say, I'm not leaving here until you eat this. I'm not moving from here. Get up and sit down now. Well, if you have me to deal with when you're sick, you get better by force. Because I'm dragging you off the bed and dragging you everywhere. And I'm making sure you get better, And so she refuses to eat the pulse. She refuses to eat the food. He sits there. She goes back to sleep, holding the fruit in her hand, but she doesn't eat it. And then, as morning will come, a visitor comes to the home of Atmadev and Dunduli. Who is this visitor? Listen, it tells us. Sing with me, everybody. Bolo Shri Seetaram, 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 Jai Siyavar Ram. Bolo.
Seetaram, 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 Jai Siyavar Ram.
Bolo Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Jai Siyavar Ram. Bolo.
Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Jai Siyavar Ram.
Bolo Seetaram, 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 Jai Siyavar Ram.
Seetaram, 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 Jai Siyavar Ram.
श्री परमात्मने नमः, गोविंदा नमः। डुंडुली का अपने का बान करके सुनतर करने उसके का बान सला दे। वामे बच्चे का उन्होंने का रहते तीर, जिसका पल का बचे होते वा बच्चे का डुंडुली का गीर बले बले। डुंडुली का अपने चोते भान का बहुत करने ही देख और पल का गए हो भोग दिया होते। बोलो सीताराम, 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 जय सियावर राम।
सीताराम, 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 जय सियावर राम।
बोलो राधे श्याम, राधे श्याम, राधे श्याम, जय सियावर राम।
राधे श्याम, राधे श्याम, राधे श्याम, जय सियावर राम।
Coincidentally, Dunduli's smaller sister visits them early in the morning. But there is something noticeable about Dunduli's sister. She's pregnant, she's in family way. And so Dunduli is seeing her pregnant sister, knowing that her sister has many children already. Dunduli plots a plan in her mind. And she sits down and she has a discussion with her sister. She says, listen, you already have plenty children and I have no children. And so an old sadhu gave this pun and said that if I eat it, I will bring forth a child. But I don't want to bring forth a child because I don't want my body, the appearance of my body to be changed. Can you help me? At the right price, I will pay you. Can you give me your baby when the baby is born? And Dunduli and her sister, they sat down and they started to plot. And so Dunduli decided that her sister will move in and live with her. And so then Dunduli, she will pretend that she is pregnant and her stomach will appear to be huge just as though she is carrying a baby. And so the sister will live there. And then when the time of birth comes, both of them will go into labor at the same time. One baby will die and one baby will live. And Dunduli's sister will have no child and Dunduli will have a child. You think Choti Bahu started on the television? Huh? You think this kind of kahani started on the television? Listen to the gyan. Listen to listen to what is happening. And so pretending now that she was pregnant, both of them came to the conclusion they must get rid of the fruit. So you know what they did? Both of them tossed the fruit in the goshala. Goshala means the cow pen. And the cow ate of the fruit. And so as the cow ate of the fruit, the cow became impregnated. As the cow is now pregnant, Dunduli is pregnant, and her sister is pregnant. Well, Dunduli is pretending to be pregnant. And now, Atmadev's happiness knows no bounds. He's happy beyond happy. And so Atmadev, what will happen? Listen, something is about to happen. Bolo Seetaram, 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 Jai Siyavar Ram.
सीताराम, 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 जय सियावर राम।
बोलो राधे श्याम, राधे श्याम, राधे श्याम, जय सियावर राम।
राधे श्याम, राधे श्याम, राधे श्याम, जय सियावर राम।
परमात्माय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। या बच्चे का धुंधुली का गीत बेद करने वाले, धुंधुली का अपने का चोते बच्चा होते, देखो गो का पल दिया भो करने वाले। धुंधुली भना का सुंदर पुत्र की, नाम उसके का पुत्र धुंधुली का दिया। बच्चे का नाम दुंदुकारी का राका गया होते। श्री परमात्मने नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। The time came when Dunduli's sister was experiencing great pain, and so she was about to give birth. Dundulu pretended that she was having pain too. Have you ever pretended that you're having pain? Hello? You ever pretend you're having pain? Trinidadians, we all pretend. We pretend all kind of things. You pretend you're sick. You call the boss and you say, boss, I can't come to work. I'll give you an example. There is somebody who went with me for the day, the puja. And that person called in work and said, I'm sick. Huh? And it coincidentally happened that I had a funeral in a crematorium. And the funeral was in the night time when that person was supposed to be on shift. And after we did the funeral, coming home, the boss calls. And the boss says, I thought you're sick. And he said, but yes, I'm sick. And the boss said, but I could swear I just see somebody like you with a pundit in a funeral by the crematorium. Me? Not me. You is see good. But is a person looking just like you. I'm sure I could almost be certain it was you. Not me. I am feeling good. I am sick. I am under my blanket. Huh? And I'm saying, what is the need to lie? Because if you were already seen, you were seen. How much people could be ugly like you? How much people could look like you? How much people could have your height and your size and your way of moving and mannerism? How much people? So it is easy to identify it was you. So just tell the truth. And if you tell the truth in the first place, then you have nothing to be worried about. The poor lady hung up the phone. And 10 minutes after she called back, because you know, like her mind playing trick on her. You're sure it wasn't you? And then the person saying, no, I real sure. You sure you see me? I'm sick. I'm tired and I'm sick. I lie down here. I really can't come to work. Dunduli begins to pretend that she's having pain. She's about to give birth. And so Dunduli falls on the ground and she's rolling, and Atmadev doesn't know what to do. So he gets the midwife, and as the midwife comes, both wives about to give birth, they take Atmadev and they put him out of the room and they close the door. It wasn't like now, you know. I want to tell you that our interpretation of what birth is not what birth is supposed to be. Husbands and fathers, to be, I want you to listen to what I'm saying. You'll get vexed because you never like to hear the truth. The truth always sounds like something being stuck in your ears that will cause pain. But there is no two ways in telling the truth and telling you the right thing by just telling you. I have to tell you. You should not be present when the baby is being born. Fathers should never be present when the baby is being born. Unless proper checking happens and your pundit clarifies and gives you the okay that it is a good time. Scripture has declared that if that baby is being born in a bad time and father witnesses the birth of the child, death could come to the family. Not just the one generation, but the many generations. Loss of wealth could come. Loss of health could come. Fire can burn down the house. Many different things scripture says can happen. Especially if the child is born under the nakshatra, the moon of that sign that is called Mool Nakshatra. Mool Shanti has to be done, and so a special puja has to be done so that the father can see the child, but the father will only be able to see the child when a glass, a mirror, a looking glass is placed in a thali filled with mustard oil. And so mother holds the baby over her shoulder, and father for the first time glimpses the child through the mustard oil on that glass in the thali over the shoulder. That's the first viewing that you get of the child. But it only happens after the purification time. Only after the children and the mother is pure. And they call it Mool Shanti. And if not Mool Shanti, well then Jaya Bhi Akela. All kinds of things happen in the family. Such is the details that come out of scripture. It is so detailed that it tells you everything. It explains everything to you. But you know, we convenient, huh? We selective. It doesn't happen and then we check. You have 80 years and you say, Baba, check and see if I have a Rasi. Check and see, where is my Rasi name? I say, oh God, you have to go back in the book from 80 years now to find your Rasi. You tell somebody, what's your Rasi name? They say, where is that? Where is that? Thing to know, we don't know, you know. You all know that? The things that you're supposed to know, you don't know. And the thing not to know, oh God. You know that real good. Atmadev is locked out. And as Atmadev is locked out, the cries of the baby could be heard. Atmadev is happy. Atmadev is knocking on the door. He wants to go in. And the midwife is only saying to him, wait, wait. The midwife has been given all the information. She has been given all the information about the plan. And so she's a part of the plan too. The midwife comes out and she's crying. And she looks at Atmadev and she says, you're hearing the baby? But we have a problem. Your sister-in-law's baby died. And so she's in a bad state. You can't go in there as yet. Your baby is healthy and find the name for your child. You sit down and find the name for the child. And Atmadev goes and using the time of birth, he finds the appropriate name. And he names the son Dundukhari. Dundukhari is the name that he gives to his son. But as the midwife takes the bowl, after washing the mother, she goes to the back and the cow is giving birth. When the midwife sees the offspring that comes from the cow, the midwife faints away. Why? The cow has given birth to a baby boy, but this baby boy has the ears that resembles that of the cow, but the body of a human. The midwife, when she gets up, seeing this again, the midwife takes the baby and passes the baby through the window into the room with Dunduli. And as the midwife goes back inside, the midwife says, what will we do? I have already given the news that one of the baby has died. Now we have two baby. What are we going to say? And so the midwife comes back out and the midwife says to Atmadev, I have news for you. Is everything okay with the baby? And the midwife said, yes. But Dunduli didn't have one child. She had two children. Go check the next name. By checking, not seeing the child, Atmadev goes to check. And Atmadev gets the name for his second son. And he names him Gokaran. But when Atmadev sees the child, the name matches the appearance of the child. Gokaran means the one with the ears of a cow. Gokaran. Now Gokaran and Dundukhari, they are brothers. One is born of the womb of the sister of Dunduli, and one was born from the womb of the cow. Both boys, they're supposed to be twins. They're supposed to be twins. Both boys, they're supposed to be twins. You know much people supposed to be brother and sister and they're enemies? You know much people supposed to be brother and they're worst enemies? You know much husband and wife supposed to be best friend? Because there was a time it was Coach Hota here. And they're enemies. They're living in the same house. And when they go out, you see them, he bringing food for her and combing her hair. And when they're home, you'd never know they don't talk to one another. They pretend very well. You'll never know. And then one day when the wife or the husband can no longer take it and tells the story, you say, really? I can't believe that. That's not true. But the man, they stick out your food and feed you and think, you never see how much he's feed me. You want to choke me. That's what he want to do. having two sons now. Atmadev and Dunduli has two sons, Gokaran and Dundukhari. It gives a synopsis of the values and the morals of both sons. उसने एक समय का गई सुंदर की बालक होते करने, जन्मा का नेक सिद्धा का अशवार हो गया का, साथ में पैर उन्होंने का देहे। गोकरण की ब्राह्मण देवता की विप्र रूप करने वाले, और दुंदुकारी का रोग ढोक करने है, देखो रोग है। श्री परमात्मने नमः। Gokaran, the child that came from the cow, he became a Vipra. Vipra means Vipra. He became a Vipra. Vipra means a Pandit, a holy man, a man who believes in script and principles and religion and God, and karma. And Dundukhari, he became a rogue. Rogue means what? Rogue. Don't care nothing. Don't care nothing. Rogue. He became a rogue. Rogue means that he's the opposite of holy. What's the opposite of holy? Let me answer. Unholy. Gokaran was charitable. What is the opposite of uncharitable? Let me answer. Stingy. And so both of them, they were totally opposite to each other. And so because of this, they never agreed with each other. Ever had two children and both of them always fighting with each other? They're always fighting with each other. My brother said to me, he said, you could fight with me, you know. I said, why? He said, because we're really not related. Mommy didn't tell you? I said, what? What? What is there to tell? Well, you fall down from a coconut tree. That's where you came from. Do you know at one point in time I really believed that? Because of the conviction in which he said that to me, I almost believed what he was saying. Until one day I said, Ma, I fall from a coconut tree. She said, behave yourself and move from me. Huh? You know that's how mothers reply when they don't want to answer. And so, they never agreed with each other. One followed the pathway of dharam and the other followed the pathway of adharam. And so both of them, they never agreed with each other. But what will happen? Listen. देखो दुंदुकारी का रोग, जिसमें का पहली सारी का चुनरिया का देने वाले, माता की अंधकार होते श्री परमात्मने नमः. The time came when Dundukhari was loved by Dunduli and Gokaran was loved by Atmadev. Why? Parents, do you love both children equally? Don't answer. Please, nobody answer, especially on the stage. Maybe I should have asked that question tomorrow night when my mother is here. Atmadev loved Gokaran because Gokaran was holy and Dundukhari was loved by Dunduli because you know why? Rowdy just like her, behaved just like her, had all the traits of her. So she loved this child. And so Dundukhari, being loved by his mother, she supported him in all the evil things that he did. And so he started to gamble. And so he gambled all of her chunariya. Churaniya means his, Churiya. What is churiya? What is churiya? All of her gold, all of her jewelry. He gambled away everything. And so having no more, he started to gamble her sari. What is sari? Her clothes. And gambling away everything. Gokaran will bring and Dundukhari will carry, give away, gamble away, lose everything. You have one child that will be very conservative. And you have one child who care nothing. Spend his own, her own, everybody own, don't care. And so, Dunduli, unable to bear the shame of the behavior of her son, Dunduli made her way to the well, and Dunduli jumped into the well, giving up her existence because she could no longer bear it, because the son that she loved tugged her, beated her, abused her. Because a gambler doesn't care what they have to do to get something to gamble. Do you know? You ever see how an addict behaves? Have you ever seen how an addict behaves? Huh? In every village, there is a man who will come to clean the yard and do the little menial things. Huh? You ain't don't tell him what to do and he don't do it, because you know why? He wants the money. He can't get the money fast enough. And you know why he wants the money? You know what he wants to buy? Cindy, what do you want to buy? And then you go and you tell him, well, you ain't do it good. Come, let's do it over. And he said, nah, boss. I'll come back. But give me half of the money now. You ever hear how they operate? You ever? She jumped into the well and she gave up her existence. And so now in her absence, Dundukhari acted just like his mother and took control of the ghar, took control of the parivar, the family. Look who is taking control. Not the quiet one, the rowdy one. The first thing Dundukhari does is he throws Atmadev and Gokaran out. And they have nowhere to live. And having nowhere to live, एक दिन का दुंदुकारी का घर में साथ उन्हों का देखकर गोकरण की आत्मा देव की चलते हैं, देखकर साथ साथ का उनका आत्मा देव का मांगते करने हैं, आत्मा देव का पास रिया कुछ नहीं का दुंदुकारी का विष्णु है श्री परमात्मने नमः. They have nowhere to live, so they go in the forest. They go in the forest and they begin to live, eating fruits from trees and sheltering under trees, and this is where they go to live. And going there to live, what will happen? Dundukhari, he is now in love. He's in love with a girl who has no virtue. Mothers, they instill good virtues into their daughters. You know how? You know how? When they buy a short pants for their daughter, they buy a shorter one for themselves. That's how. You know how? Because they teach their daughter, stand up, stand up for yourself. You is the boss. And anybody tell you anything, you just level them. And then a day come when you get level and you know and you say, I can't believe I get put in my place. When you feel like put in your place, you now start. When you reach in your place, you wouldn't even know. Long ago, a daughter-in-law entering into a new family, you had to wear orni. You all know that? Don't know about that? And the minute you get married and you go into the family, the mother-in-law get the man to come and put a tattoo on your hand. A godina. You all know about that? Huh? And until you don't have that mark, the mark of marriage, your mother-in-law and father-in-law not drinking nothing from you. Because anybody who sees this mark, the sindoor could wash out, but the tattoo can't wash out. See how smart they were? So it was an identification. And then, based on how much children you had, they will put dots here. And so it was symbolic of how much children you have. So anybody see you and they see this mark, they know you're married. And when they watch here, they say, children. And sometimes this hand wasn't good enough, so they had to put on this hand too. Because some people had 21 children and thing, you all know? Didn't have too much TV and thing, 21 children. Think about it. Dundukhari, throwing them out, both of them, they entered into the forest and they started to live and they were contented because they were holy people. And so eating little, they enjoyed peace and happiness away. But Dundukhari, he was in love. And this girl that he was in love with, देखो राजा की जिसमें का चोरियां करने, देखो और की दुंदुकारी का पूछने करने, देखो और सोना की गए होते, सोना गए होते. She had her eyes on something. You know what she had her eyes on? She had her eyes on the golden crown that the Raja, the king, wore. And she says to him, if you really love me, you will go and get that crown. You'll go and thief that crown for me. And then you will prove that you really love me. What you have to do to prove that you love somebody? Hello? What you have to do to prove that you love somebody? Amir, what you have to do to prove? You say flowers. Boy, they don't only carry flowers to people they love, you know. They carry for dead people too. That ain't proving nothing. And actually, after a few hours, the flower's dead too. Sure or not? I have an aunt, she's here. Right? My poor uncle will go, and when it's Valentine's, he'll buy her flowers and maybe more than one and bring it for her. And instead of looking at the flowers and saying, well, it's symbolic of love, she said, I can't eat that. Where you buy that for? Next time you have to buy something to cook so all of we could eat and be happy. The man go and he buys something to cook, and then next Valentine's I say, what you get? He buy thing to cook now? I ain't even get flowers. How can you please? Will you ever be able to please? Is it possible to please? There is no amount of anything that you can give to bribe anybody into loving you. And let me say that again. Because the day you can't give, you know what happened? If they're staying with you genuinely because of what you can give, then they will find somebody else who could give them. A relationship should not be built on anything that is material. But the connection must be deeper than material. The connection should be built on trust. Trust is the main ingredient. Trust is the bowl, the vessel that everything is based on. If you have to make a cake and you have no bowl, what will happen? What will happen? Can you make a cake? If there is no trust in the relationship, then what kind of relationship is that? You know what flowers go do? Huh? Nothing. He followed the instruction because he's blinded by lust. And he goes into the kingdom. But as he picks up the crown, you know what happened? He gets caught. And they beat him to death. He's a chore, he's a thief. Not knowing who he is, they beat him to death. And they take his body and they feed the body to the animals. They put it for the animals to eat. Atmadev and Gokaran has heard of what has happened. And though he has treated them how he treated them, both of them, they are deeply affected. Whether how bad somebody is, when you hear they're dead, you know you feel sorry for them. True or not? That's true or not? So why you can't feel sorry for them when they're living? Why do they have to be dead for you to feel sorry for them? We need to change that though. We need to change that. When you're done that, they say, oh God, well you know, I go buy the clothes to him. Why you don't buy clothes while they're living? Why don't you? I go help you pay for the bandara. I go buy all the things to make the pinda. Why don't you buy something and give it to the person while they're alive? Huh? Why don't you do that? Do something special for them while they're alive. Everybody rushing. All of a sudden, all the son and daughter resurrect from where they was buried under some rock somewhere. And everybody reach up and everybody want to do and everybody want to take charge. When mother's suffering and pampers on, nobody coming to clean and wipe and do it. When you're done dead now, well, my pundit had to do it, huh? Because I taken part and I'm my pundit. No pundit can do nothing at that point. You're done dead. If you didn't pray while you were living, nothing you can do will be of any aid. Pray while you're alive is the most foolish thing I've ever heard in my whole life. And if me and God, and there are conditions, you know. If you do it how me and taking part, well, don't take part. Whether you take part or you didn't take part, it will still happen. Atmadev and Gokaran, they affected hearing about the death. They were thrown out. They were thrown out. They were treated in the worst of ways. But they're feeling sorry for him. And feeling sorry for him, what will happen? They plot a plan. Atmadev and Gokaran, they plot a plan. They will pray on behalf of the soul of Dundukhari. They will pray. What will they do? Listen. Sukhdev Muni is telling. Bolo Shri Sitaram, 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 Jai Siyavar Ram. Bolo.
Sitaram, Sitaram.
Clap your hands with me, everybody. Let's clap.
Sitaram, Jai Siyavar Ram.
Bolo Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Radhe Sham, Jai Siyavar Ram. Bolo.
Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Jai Siyavar Ram.
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो, मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो,
गोविंद 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 बोलो
गोविंद 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 बोलो,
गोविंद 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 बोलो
गोविंद 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 बोलो,
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो,
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो
मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो।
आत्मादेव के पास उनका करने वाली देखो और ब्रह्म देवता की आसन कर दे गोकरण की वचन भागवत की कथा देखो और मनुष्य का रूप लिया करने जिसमें का आत्मा शरीर का भिंती करने देखो और मुक्ति का द्वार होते आत्मा का आसन बैठे देखो और झंडा उतर बैठे हैं देखो और प्रार्थना की सप्ताह का कथा उन्हों का वचन देने वाले देखो और जोर का अश्वार आसन बिनती है देखो और आत्मा की मुक्ति द्वार करने भागवत कथा हो सुंदर है मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो They decide that they will do the Bhagwat Katha. They decide that they will do the Bhagwat Katha. They can't afford. They have nothing. They're living in the forest, right? They can't afford. So they have decided that Gokaran will read of the Bhagwat. He will read the Katha. And so they make preparations. And then while the narrations of the Bhagwat is happening, then everybody knowing about the Bhagwat, they start bringing to contribute to the Bhagwat. And Atmadev, he's forced to construct a tent. He's forced to construct a tent. And so using the bamboo rods, he builds a tent. Do you know long ago, if there was a wedding, you had to build a tent with bamboo? Do you know if there was a funeral, you build a tent with a bamboo? Do you know if you were having a party, you build a tent with a bamboo? Do you know that just in case you bought a new car, you build a tent with a bamboo and park the car under there? Do you know? Have you ever experienced the bamboo tent with a tarpaulin? Have you? Sintra will tell you that when Aji died, the night after the cremation, everybody decided to spend the night. And the rain was falling non-stop, and there was a yellow tarpaulin used to make the tent. They formulated a plan. Her sister, the elder one, formulated a plan. She's going to put on Aji dress and Aji urni and hold a torchlight and walk through. And then we plotted a plan that while she's walking through, we must do something that will create some kind of noise. So we'll go outside and we'll choke the water that is accumulated. And so the water will fall with force and wake up everybody, and then they will see Aji. And you know what will happen? Then they might die too. And so the plan was plotted, and she looks just like Aji, Choti Moti. And so they put the urni and everything and the torchlight, and they go out. And you know who they put the chocolate tent? The most idle person, me. I go outside with the broom. You know the broom with the handle? And she say, chuk. And as I push the thing, the bamboo tilted and the whole tent come collapsing, boom, on the ground. I dash across the road and jump over the gate and go in my bed and pull the sheet over and I'm soaking wet. Huh? Soaking wet. Because I'm living over the road. What happened after, I don't know. I have no clue what happened after. But I know what happened during. The bamboo tent was excitement. There was some level of camaraderie that happened. Huh? In the construction of the tent, everybody got together. We had that. We had that. We had that. You know how? I insisted that they put jandi coming from Kwaito. Did you all see the jandi? From miles away, there are jandis. The ladies of the group, they sew maybe 40, 50 jandi each. Can you imagine how much effort it is to sew those flags and to plant them from quite where you are seeing them? Have you seen the flags? From up on the hill, when you look, there is a towering flag of Lord Hanuman. And standing next to that towering flag is a flag of Bhagwan Krishna. Did you all see it? A huge flag. Jenny didn't bring the flag. But it is up. It's there. Did you all see it? This is what Yagna and Bhagwat was long ago. Where everybody will get together and with team, with effort. They call it Panchaiti. Huh? Where everybody gets together. You never went there with your hands swinging, you know. Everybody who went to the Bhagwat carried something. Chana, pumpkin, salt, sugar, ghee, something. Because you know why? They knew that this was an investment in their soul. And their soul will reap the merit out of the gifts that they give in the Bhagwat. Especially when there is a Bhagwat, you're supposed to take, you're supposed to carry. Especially when there is a Bhagwat Yagya. Because it's an investment you're making in your soul, for your soul. And so, sitting and expounding on the Katha, what will happen? The Atma. Atma means the soul. The Atma of Dundukhari came and sat in one of the Jhanda. Jhanda means the bamboo rod. And so every time a canto means a chapter came to an end, one of the bamboo joint will explode. And so after 7 days, the 7th joint exploded and the bamboo split open. And Dundukhari's soul stood in front of Atmadev and Gokaran and bowed to them. Why? Through your past noble deeds, you have afforded unto my soul mukti, salvation. Despite all the evil, crooked thing I have done. I thank you. I thank you. In this yagya, I've been questioned a million times. Why should we put bamboo up on the altar? Why? It's spoiling the decor. In the yagya, on the outside, there is the bamboo with the joints. And every night, we burst one of the joints. Last night, Cindy and Dave and I alone went outside and burst the joint of the bamboo. And Cindy is saying, well, tell me where is that now? We're doing this thing every night and we don't know why is that. Why are we doing this? And I said, girl, I really don't know now. Where I go tell you? I just hear it's a good thing to do. Because you know why? I don't want to spoil the Katha. I don't want to tell her because I don't want her to lose the interest in the Katha that will tell the real essence and reason behind what we are doing. But everything is logical and everything is scriptural. And so it is prescribed according to scripture that we must do this. Hoping that the soul of Dundukhari got mukti, salvation, by these bursting joints, and so too with the souls of our pitris. Be blessed. On the first night, Paki burst the joint. On the second night, Dave burst the joint. Well, I don't know who will fight you tonight, Dave. Now that they know, I don't know who will fight. Who will rush to do? Dundukhari's soul gets mukti, salvation, by the prayers of Gokaran and Atmadev. Umapati Mahadeva ki jai, Pavan Sutta Hanuman ki jai, Ayodhya Ramilala ki jai, Vrindavan Krishna Chandra ki jai, Oresa Jagannath ki jai, Bolo bhai sab santane ki jai, Siyapati Ramchandra ki jai, Sharanam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We join in the Havan. बराचित चोरा वृंदावन संचारा गोपाला गोपाला हे मुरली गोपाला
राजित चोरा वृंदावन संचारा गोपाला गोपाला हे मुरली गोपाला
बराचित चोरा वृंदावन संचारा गोपाला गोपाला हे मुरली गोपाला
राजित चोरा वृंदावन संचारा गोपाला गोपाला हे मुरली गोपाला
हे नंद नंद गोपाल आनंद नंद गोपाल
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 हे नंद नंद आनंद नंद यदुनंद नंद गोपाल
हे नंद नंद आनंद नंद यदुनंद नंद गोपाल
हे नंद नंद गोपाल आनंद नंद गोपाल
हे नंद नंद गोपाल आनंद नंद गोपाल
This morning, when I got up, when my eyes opened, I was greeted to that chant. Dave was singing that chant at the top of his voice. And he's walking everywhere, bharmein ka bhoot. Everywhere, inside, outside, but you could hear him everywhere he's going. And he's singing. In my mind, I said, when is not a maid, is Dave. Waking up everybody. 5 o'clock in the morning, rain falling, bucket a drop. And he walking, and you know how those old people used to walk? They can't lift their foot, they're dragging the slipper. Sewing and dragging of the foot aggravates the nerves, isn't it? And he walking and he making his own music and singing his own song. He Nanda Nanda Gopal, Ananda Nanda Gopal.
हे नंद नंद गोपाल आनंद नंद गोपाल
Govind Hari, Gopal Hari, He Gopi Gopi Bala. Govind Hari, Gopal Hari, He Murali Gyan Lola.
गोविंद हरि गोपाल हरि हे गोपी गोपी बाला गोविंद हरि गोपाल हरि हे मुरली गान लोला
जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला, जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला, जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला.
जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला
जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला, जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला, जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला.
जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला जय जय गिरिधर गोपाला
चित चोटा यशोदा की बात, नवनीत चोर गोपाल.
चित चोरा यशोदा की बात नवनीत चोर गोपाल
नवनीत चोर गोपाल,
नवनीत चोर गोपाल
नवनीत चोर गोपाल,
नवनीत चोर गोपाल
नवनीत चोर गोपाल.
नवनीत चोर गोपाल
सर्व पाप हरम देवं गांग्यम निर्मलं जनम आचमनम मया दत्त गृहाणा परमेश्वर. May our sins be burnt away to the medium of oblations into the fire. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturbharenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhyo Yo Na Prachodayat Idam Gatridam Namama. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturbharenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhyo Yo Na Prachodayat Idam Gatre Idam Namama. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsaviturbharenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai यो यो न प्रचोदयात् इदं गात्रेदं नाम एकदन्ताय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्ते प्रचोदयात् कात्यायनाय विद्महे कन्याकुमारी च धीमहि तन्नो भगवते प्रचोदयात् अंजनी सुताय विद्महे वायुपुत्राय धीमहि तन्नो हनुमान् प्रचोदयात् महालक्ष्मी च विद्महे विष्णुपत्नी च धीमहि तन्नो भगवते प्रचोदयात् नारायणाय विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विष्णु प्रचोदयात् तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे महादेवाय धीमहि तन्नो रुद्र प्रचोदयात् ब्रह्मा मुरारी श्रीपुरन्तकारी भानु शशि भूमि सतो वरस्य गुरु शुक्र शनि राहु केत सर्वे ग्रह शान्तिकारा भवन्तु ओम सर्वेभ्यो देवेभ्यो नमः ओम सर्वेभ्यो ब्राह्मणेभ्यो नमः ओम हरिमर्कटमर्कटा नमः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमेव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मोक्ष्यमामृतात् त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमेव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मोक्ष्यमामृतात् त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमेव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मोक्ष्यमामृतात् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय सर्वदेवी सर्वदेवतानो स्वाहा ओ मुरलिय बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
मुरलिय बाजे रे जमुना के तीर सर्व पापं देवं भाग्यं निर्मलं सुरम् आचमनं मे आदत्त गृहाणा परमेश्वर आचमनं समर्पयामि वनस्पतिरसुरभूतो गन्धार्यो गणदूतवान् आग्रे सर्वदेवानां भूपोऽयं प्रतिगृहीता ईश्वर hands everybody ओ मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
ओ जमुना के तीर जमुना के तीर
जमुना के तीर जमुना के तीर
ओ जमुना के तीर कान्हा जमुना के तीर
जमुना के तीर खाना जमुना के तीर
ओ मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
ओ मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
रम 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 राम बोले
राम 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 बोले
रम 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 राम बोले
राम 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 बोले
राम बोले राम बोले
राम बोले राम बोले
राम बोले राम बोले
राम बोले राम बोले
रम 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 राम बोले
राम 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 बोले
रम 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 राम बोले
राम 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 बोले
If you have remembered none of the chants you would have sung, I want you to remember this chant. And remembering this chant, I want you to sing this chant as much as you can. Which chant is it? मन तुम गोविंद गोविंद बोलो
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 mind. Manatum, oh mind of mine, listen. Govinda, Govinda bolo. I'm training you to chant the name of Govinda. So that at time when that comes, Govinda will be the first thing that comes to mind. And the first thing out of my mouth. The connection must work properly at that time. Mind and mouth must be connected properly at that time. But the only way mind and mouth will be connected and the thought of Govinda will come and the words will be able to be expressed with bhakti, with devotion, is when you train the mind. So every single day, tomorrow morning, Dave will get up singing Manatuma Govinda, Govinda Bolo. Dave, that's what you'll wake me up with, huh? Manatuma Govinda, Govinda Bolo. Everybody, sing with me this evening with all your love. Manatuma Govinda, Govinda Bolo. Manatuma Govinda, Govinda Bolo. Govinda, Govinda, Govinda Bolo. Govinda, Govinda, Govinda Bolo. Govinda, Govinda, Govinda Bolo. Govinda, Govinda, Govinda Bolo. Manatuma Govinda, Govinda Bolo. Manatuma Govinda, Govinda Bolo. Manatuma Govinda, Govinda Bolo. Manatuma Govinda, Govinda Bolo. Govinda Hari, Gopal Hari, He Gopi Gopi Bala. Govinda Hari, Gopal Hari, He Mudali Jnana Lola. Govinda Hari, Gopal Hari, He Gopi Gopi Bala. Govinda Hari, Gopal Hari, He Mudali Jnana Lola. Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala. Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala. Chit chota Yashoda ki baat, Navneet chod Gopal. Chit chota Yashoda ki baat, Navneet chod Gopal. Govinda Hari, Gopal Hari, He Gopi Gopi Bala. Govinda Hari, Gopal Hari, He Mudali Jnana Lola. Govinda Hari, Gopal Hari, He Gopi Gopi Bala. Govinda Hari, Gopal Hari, He Mudali Jnana Lola. Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala. Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala, Jai Jai Giridhar Gopala. Chota Yashoda ki baat, Navneet chod Gopal. Chota Yashoda ki baat, Navneet chod Gopal. Navneet chod Gopal. Vrindavan Bihar Lal ki, Vrindavan Bihar Lal ki, Vrindavan Bihar Lal ki. Navneet chod Gopal. Man tum Govinda, Govinda bolo. 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 Tomorrow is not only a public holiday, tomorrow is a pundit's holiday. It doesn't mean I'm off, huh? It means that I'm still on duty. But tomorrow, we celebrate. Tomorrow is the day of celebration. Uncle Hari is celebrating his birthday tomorrow. Adi Dev is celebrating his birthday tomorrow. And there are many other beings who are celebrating their birthdays tomorrow. The best people who were born in the month of June. Ask Mama, she'll tell you. Mama celebrated her 70-something birthday. 70-something, I can't tell you how much. 70-something birthday a few days ago. The grandmother, Barry. And so Mama celebrated her birthday with 2 days of puja because she's 70-something. Mama, I ain't not close to 70, you know. But I reach a kind of big number. So I'm having a Bhagwat 3 times a day. That's why we're having the Bhagwat. And so we're not having the Bhagwat to celebrate me. We're having the Bhagwat to celebrate all of the people closest to me. That's why we're having the Bhagwat. To celebrate the people closest to me. To celebrate our love for Bhagwan, for Paramatma. To give thanks and to show gratitude to God for blessing us with each other. There's some people in the group, when we see them, we just want to run. Push! And there's some people, when you see them in the group, you just want to hug them up. And there's some people in the group, when you see them, though your stomach full, you get hungry, you know. When you see them, you see food. Dan Paul's mother-in-law is here. When I see her, I see Polori. Barry's grandmother is here. When I see her, I see tomatoes, choka, and soup. Mama is here. When I see Mama, I think about curry peas. Auntie Sita is looking on. When I see Auntie Sita, I'm thinking about macaroni. And I'm thinking about sweet bread. When I see Ria, I think about gift. Because you know Ria always bringing a gift. Doesn't have to be a birthday. When I see Rukmin, I say, oh God, what now? Rukmin is my number one support. My number one support. Envied by many. You should be envious. You should be envious. I'm telling you, there is need to be envious. Conviction, I'm telling you that. You should be envious. That's my number one. Auntie Radhika is looking on. She's number one. She's my number one. She has the ideal way of sending up my blood pressure, calming me. She's my number one. She's responsible for me being who I am, especially being a pundit. It is her. Nobody else but her. And I say that with no apology. And anybody else get vexed, well, that's your problem. I'm telling you the truth. When I sit here, I only tell the truth. Like her, love her, hate her, whatever your interpretation of her is. She's my inspiration because you know why? I decide and I formulate in my mind when I get old, I don't want to be like her. But I want to be successful like her. I want to be able to cope. She goes into the kitchen and you know what happened? She goes with nothing in mind and comes back with her. The best food we'll ever eat comes from her. Isn't that true? She cooks in a minute, you get hot food. And she's my number one. I could only say that tonight because my mother not here yet. It might change tomorrow, I don't know. But she's my number one. You should be jealous of her too. She lives in the very same home as me. She's the first person I see and the last person I see at night. Sometimes she's the person I don't want to see. But she's a person to be envied too. Because she's very close to me. This evening, I want to tell you that there are many beautiful things to look forward to tomorrow. Our first reading will commence at 9 o'clock and terminate at 11. Then 2 to 4 and then 7 to 9 again in the evening. Come and join with us. Tomorrow is a Pandit's holiday. I mean a public holiday. Come and join with us as we bask in the glories of the Bhagwat Katha. When you're coming, bring a little bit of gugul that will be offered in the fire. Bring a little bit of ghee that will be used for the puja. Bring a pan of ghee that will be used for the Persad. Seek your blessing for your Atma, your soul. We have all been given an opportunity. A lady came today and she brought a bag of banana. She said, Pandit, I want you to offer this in the Persad and you must eat about 4. I said, why? She said, you don't know? I said, no, what? She said, this is the Persad of Lord Krishna and this is Lord Krishna's prayers. This is Persad. Lord Krishna is depending on this offering. I didn't see you offer no banana. I'm not seeing it hanging anywhere. I'm not seeing it anywhere hanging. I said, yes, it hanging somewhere. She said, I'm carrying you up outside and you show me where. And if you can't show me, I'm hanging you up there. The fruits are hung. You know why? You know why? So that Yagna will be fruitful. symbolic of the yagna being fruitful. The holy leaves are hanged because you know why? We're supposed to sit under the holy trees and listen to the katha. We can't sit under the tree, but we bring the tree to us. And that's why we put the leaves around in the decor. Let us all stand as we prepare for the closing hour this evening. Shubham karotu kalyanam arogyam sukhasamparam mama shatru vinashaya deepa jyotirnamostute. Chant with me. Siddhi buddhi prade devi bhukti mukti pradayane mantra murti sada devi mahalakshmi namostute. Tonight we dedicate our arti, our Bhagwat arti, to one of my Pandit brothers, Pandit friend, Pandit colleague, who is not here. The family has just celebrated the 1 year Shraddh. His sons are on the stage, his wife is here. And this evening I pray a special prayer to Bhagwan, that may the devotion out of our arti be conveyed unto his soul. And so may his transition be a peaceful one. And may Bhagwan Krishna give comfort and strength to the children and to you, O Lakshmi. Bhagwat Arti. पंचम वेद निराला नव ज्योति जगाने वाला
ये अमर ग्रंथ ये मोक्ति पंथ ये पंचम वेद निराला नव ज्योति जगाने वाला
हरि ज्ञान यही वरदान यही
हरि ज्ञान यही वरदान यही
जगती मंगल की आरती
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
जय जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
ये शांति दीप पावन पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला हरि दर्श दिखाने वाला
ये शांति दीप पावन पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला हरि दर्श दिखाने वाला
ये सुख करनी हे दुख हरनी
ये सुख करने ये दुख हरने
हे मधुसूदन की आरती
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
जय जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती
पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
ये मधुर बोल जगपंत कोल सन्मार्ग दिखाने वाला बिगड़ी को बनाने वाला
ये मधुर बोल जगपंत बोल सन्मार्ग दिखाने वाला बिगड़े को बनाने वाला
श्री राम यही घनश्याम यही
श्री राम
सबकी महिमा की आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है डालती।
जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है डालती।
जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती।
पापियों को पाप से है डालती।
नमः शिवाय शांताय बम भोला बाबा।
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 भोला बाबा बम भोला बाबा 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 बम भोला बाबा।
हरि नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय शांताय बम भोला बाबा।
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 ॐ कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृति स्वभावात् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। मन्त्रेणं ग्राहीणं भक्तिनं जनार्दन यत्पूजितं म्यादेव परिपूर्णं तरस्तमे। त्वमेव माताश्च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च शिखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। ॐ शान्ति
ओम शांति
ॐ शान्ति
ओम शांति
उमापति महादेव की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। अयोध्या
राम लला की जय। वृंदावन कृष्ण चंद्र की जय। उड़ीसा जगन्नाथ की जय। पुरोहित सब संगन की जय। सियापति रामचंद्र की जय। शरणम
सीताराम 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 कहिए।
जाहे विधि राखे रामा। जाहे विधि राखे रामा। जाहे विधि रहे। सीताराम 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 सीताराम।
वृंदावन में हरिलाल की। आसन पर let us all please be seated. The arati is coming. The panchamrit is coming. Meals are provided for one and all. Please do stay and partake of the bhojan. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. Once more, Sintra is going to sing for us a rendition. And so as she sings this rendition, we dedicate this rendition to all of you who came. I'm seeing people from all the way